Happy New Year! In this episode, I'm going to be talking about the Word of the Year trend and sharing a small recap of my 2023 Word of the Year and my take on what God is showing me for 2024.
Hey there, lovely. Welcome to the Radiantly Dressed podcast. Do you want to feel beautiful and confident and look put together in your clothes? Do you find yourself scrolling Pinterest looking for capsule wardrobes and outfit ideas? Do you walk into your closet hoping for an easy wardrobe solution only to feel frustrated and frumpy when nothing looks or feels like you want it to? Hey there, I'm Stacey. I'm a busy homeschooling mom juggling life, business, and struggling with autoimmune disease. Just like you, I felt overwhelmed and frustrated with my closet and wished I had an easy to put together wardrobe that reflected who I am on the inside, the woman that God is constantly refining. But I just could not figure out how to have easy mornings and authentic style until I found the power of color analysis and capsule wardrobes. In this podcast, you'll find how to wear and use your best colors, a proven framework to create an easy closet full of clothes you love, and how to do it all in a way that honors who God created you to be so that frumpy fashion doesn't get in the way of your faith and mission. So put in your favorite earrings, swipe on some lipstick, and let's get dressed.
Hey there, sister. This is usually the part of the episode where I tell you what's going on, what the latest new thing is that we're doing. I tell you about a program or how you can get connected, but I am on maternity leave. So if you would like to connect with me, the team at Radiantly Dressed, work on your style, I have a couple different ways that you can join in even while I'm on maternity leave to get you moving forward in your personal style journey. Number one, please join the free Facebook community we have. It is wonderful. We have over 1,000 amazing members inside. That's at christianstylecommunity.com. Number two, if you're really struggling with your self-image and how you feel about yourself, and you're ready to learn to love what you see in the mirror and move forward confidently with your day in a style that suits you, then I invite you to join the Radiant by Design membership. It's only $7 a month. You will get all kinds of amazing course content, mindset work, biblical mindset work, and just really begin to learn who you are in God's eyes. And that is at radiantbydesigncollective.com. You can also get connected by following any of the links below this episode that will lead you to free affirmations, creating a free color palette, or any of the other courses, programs, and digital products that I offer. I can't wait to see the radiant woman that you'll become over the next few months. So first things first, let's talk about this Word of the Year trend. It's not something that I'm not completely comfortable with it all the time. I remember a few years ago seeing this, people posting this on Facebook or social media or whatever, that this is my word of the year, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know. I think I tried like once or twice to just choose a word because that I felt like I needed to work on or something. And then I failed miserably because what really happened was that I was just trying to choose something to be on trend or cool or whatever. And then last year, for the first time ever, I actually felt a word kind of settle over me from God, really. Like it was something that He was leading me into. And so I'm a little bit more comfortable with it now than I used to be. But I guess my piece of advice here is if you're like wondering what I'm talking about, don't just go choose a word thinking that that's going to be your theme of the year, right? Because it probably won't work. But if you feel God stirring in your heart, something specific, then yeah, definitely follow that because it can be really powerful and impactful. So last year, this topic, like I said, I just felt something really stirring in my heart. And the word that I was given last year was restoration. And I was really excited because, restoration is something new. It reminds me of that verse in Isaiah, see, I'm doing a new thing. It springs up, and I'm butchering the verse. I'm sorry I didn't pull it up for you guys, but it just reminded me of that verse. And I was really, really excited about the concept of restoration. And I was sharing it in a group, and it's funny because a woman commented who now works for me as an assistant. And it's funny, she was like, yeah, restoration. She's like, yeah, but you have to strip everything down before you can restore it. And I was like, no, hold up, wait a minute. I don't like that part of this. I just want the pretty finished piece of furniture at the end. I don't want the raw piece of wood we're going to have to get through to get there. And in my last episode of the year, I talked about 2023 and all that it brought. And I do feel like God restored so much in my life, not just in my business, but I feel like truly there was a restoration of my faith, in some ways I can't really explain it in words, if it makes sense. Being called to head cover was such a huge, momentous experience for me. It changed so much for me, and I have an episode coming up on it, so I don't want to go too deep here, but it completely changed me as a person. And there was a restoration in my marriage from it, and there was a restoration just across the board in my business, like I talked about a few weeks ago. But also there was other restoration in my life as well. I really, for the first time in having 7 kids, I worked really hard and I lost all of the weight I had ever gained. I got down to my pre-mom weight. And there was just a health restoration that went in there, which is of course ironic because I caught COVID at the end of the year. But really it taught me so much about stewardship of myself, of my body, of just being even more, and I've been on a health journey for quite a few years now. Just really focusing on wellness, something I'm really passionate about. I talk about it in my programs, especially in some of my other programs and things. I talk about it here on the podcast, on the blog too, sometimes, because it's really a part of who we are, how we feel about ourselves, how our body feels is tied to what our health is doing to us. But for me, there was a big restoration there. I'm trying to think what else. Most of those are the big ones, right? Faith, family, business, really the big areas. And the same areas I plan to talk about today, really. And so it's funny because I put this on my content schedule and I was like, I'm going to do a word of the year. And I didn't have a word of the year. And so I was doing that same thing I did a few years ago where I was just trying to make something happen that wasn't really happening. But I knew that God had been faithful last year to give me this amazing word and then to fulfill it and see it out into its completion. And so I trusted that he would give me something. And true to form, much earlier than expected, I started to feel sort of something settling on me in November, I believe it was. And the word that I got was the word expand. And I didn't want to be hasty and I didn't want to jump the gun. And I was really happy that it was something that started stirring in me so early that I could pray on it and reflect on it and really think about what it meant. And then, of course, ask God 100 times, is this the word? Is this what we're doing? Is this what you're showing me? And I'll be honest with you that all of the things I'm going to say from here on out are purely speculation because I don't know what he's going to do. I didn't know what restoration meant last year, and I don't really know what expansion means for this year either. I'm just here for it, here to follow whatever he's calling me to do. But funny part of this is that when I first heard that, just felt that word expand kind of as the theme for 2024, I had to laugh because I am, theoretically very expansive at that moment, very pregnant. Our family is technically expanded, right? We have done that. And so it was a very kind of funny haha moment, oh, expand, great. Which kind of gives me a segue here in a way, because one of the areas that I am hoping expands a little bit, it does relate to our family, and the logistics of our family size at this point. There are a couple areas where, logistically speaking, we have some challenges with 7 children, and in this economy, they are a little more difficult than they would have been a few years ago. And so I am really just praying for clarity and guidance on how to navigate these changes in a way that works for our family, works for our budget, works for us really well. Along those other lines too, I guess I'll talk about the family stuff first and then I'll do the faith stuff. But my husband and I and our family, we have dreams. I think everybody has dreams and goals that they want to achieve. But one of our dreams is to kind of get away from the coast a little bit because we live in a hurricane area and buy some land that's not quite as close to the coast. And so, of course, this is just me dreaming, right? Like, wouldn't it be great to expand that, like for that dream to really start to come to fruition and for us to really start to nail down some solid plans there. And like, again, I said, like, the word is expand. These are just some of my like thoughts and feelings about it. But I forgot to give you the definitions. I actually went and looked up expand because I wanted to see what the definitions were. And it was to become or make larger or more extensive. And I will say that when I heard expand, I was like, Lord, please don't make me expand any larger than I am right now. Because, being pregnant is pretty expansive. But also it means to open up or unfold, which I found really interesting to just think about, like a flower unfurling and expanding. And then I also found a less known definition to feel generous or optimistic. And I feel like all of those things are great places to really expand. As far as my faith, I don't know what God's got planned. I know that I would love to expand personally my morning time, especially having a newborn and being in the postpartum phase. Everything just feels chaotic. Sleep comes and goes, never predictable. And so just being able to expand that daily time is something that is kind of important to me at this point. But I don't know, last year was such a huge momentous like shift in my faith journey that I don't know. I part of me wants to say I don't know how he could top that, but I'm sure he can top it and surprise me and just take my breath away. And I'm here for it. Like, I'm here for whatever he wants to expand in that area. Like, I will take it. Whatever he's got, I'll take it. And then finally, what is expansion going to mean for me as a business owner? What is it going to mean for Radiantly Dressed? Last year felt pretty expansive, to be honest. And I don't know what this year's going to bring, but I'm excited. I love these words that have they hold so much promise in a way. And I don't have to know the answers. I just have to know that God did lay this word on my heart, and I have prayed about it. And I feel confident that this is the word and the theme of 2024. And I am just here for whatever God asked me to do. After maternity leave, obviously, I am taking some time to rest and enjoy the expansion of my family, my little large family here. And just see what he has planned. I don't know what he has planned. I can tell you some of the ideas that I've had. I've had thoughts, and quite a few people talk to me about writing a book about the style journey that I'm on. One of the plans that I made for this year for my business was to refocus on the website and the blog because it has been a little neglected over the past couple years. Really trying to build that into more of a powerhouse publication. And then it's just being consistent with some other things like the podcast. But really also expanding my reach is important to me because I feel like there are so many women who are really down on themselves, truly down on themselves, truly look in the mirror and just want to cry and sometimes do burst into tears. And that breaks my heart. Because God did not create us to feel downtrodden like that. He does not want us to feel those negative thoughts about ourselves. Obviously, he does not want us to inflate ourselves and put ourselves on a pedestal above, I'm trying to think of the words I want to say here. Above just being his creation, I guess. The word modest keeps coming to mind, but I feel like it's just not quite right. Really just being his daughter, seeing ourselves as both powerful in what Christ did for us and weak in our humanity, and being in that middle place without hating on ourselves or thinking bad things about ourselves. And one of the things that comes to mind to me always, as far as just like a value that I carry and that I want to share with other women, is just this concept of freedom. And of course, like, to share that message, I need people who listen to that message. I need to expand that reach so people can hear those important things and realize that we are not how we look. We are not the clothes that we wear. We are not the size of our clothes. We are not the color of our hair or the wrinkles on our skin or any of the imperfections that we see and obsess over. We are truly, truly powerful daughters of the King. And he has given us so many gifts, the gift of salvation, the gift of the Holy Spirit who dwells in us constantly, making us more Christ-like, more righteous, closer to holiness, closer to God in all these ways. And I just cannot stand to see women struggling in these areas. And so, so I totally want to expand that reach. I want to get that message out there. And those are really just the kind of things that I'm thinking and hoping. And again, like I said, I have no idea what God's going to do. I can't wait in a way. Like, I don't want to rush the year. I'm not going to pretend like I want to rush the year, but it's always exciting to me to think about what this episode will sound like next year, right? Like, what am I going to talk about next year? What is the expansion going to be like on the other side? What is God going to do? What is he going to show me? What is he going to bring me and my family? What is he going to bring to my faith? How is he going to grow me as a daughter, daughter of the King? And how is he going to grow me as a voice of his truth? And I'm here for it. And I hope that you're here for it too. If you're listening to me, maybe you are here for it. And that's really exciting. So thank you for letting me just talk about words of the year. I would love it if you could just leave a review and tell me your word of the year, or you can send me an email or whatever, any of the links below, follow them, come tell me your word of the year, what it means to you, what you're hoping for. I would love to hear it. Oh, and as I end this episode, I just want to say that this may seem kind of silly, but New Year's Day is my favorite holiday. And I think it's because I truly love the idea of a fresh start, a new start. I just love that purity and cleanliness that it seems to represent, a fresh slate to do all new things. And so today, I wish you a very, very happy new year, a very happy clean slate and fresh start. If you're into traditions, make sure to eat some black-eyed peas and cabbage, because that is what we Southerners do for, I don't know, some weird freaky superstition. I don't know, but it gives me an excuse to make cabbage and black-eyed peas and probably some gluten-free cornbread as well. So a happy new year. I am so excited you're here. I'm excited to see what this year brings for you. And I'm excited to see what God brings to this year for me.
Hey there, gorgeous. Before you go, if this episode inspired you and helped you to feel more confident, I'd love for you to leave me a written review on Apple Podcasts. Second, hop on over and join the free Facebook group at christianstylecommunity.com, where you'll find Jesus-loving women just like yourself learning about style and building a dream wardrobe. Get dressed, be radiant.